Let's move on to talk about them. We can talk about Drew Brees. There's some concern about Brees. I don't think the concern should be that real right now. There's been chatter that his arm strength is gone. Don't think that's true. I think what we're finding out is with their current roster that Brees is struggling to, I guess, find targets with Michael Thomas not in the lineup. Because Michael Thomas is the first time he's missed games in the last 2 years.
Right.
Kamara's I feel like he's pulling his weight. They're not scoring.
Yeah, Brees looks like he is looking for Kamara on every play.
Yeah.
If it's not a designed run, and it is some sort of a passing play, and Kamara's kind of the check down,
makes it easy
he's almost
to defend.
going to him every time. Yeah, I mean he's getting the ball to Kamara, and Kamara's putting up numbers, but yeah, he's not really looking downfield at all.
I would say, and I never will claim to be a football expert, but if you look at other sports, like boxing is where I'm going with this, they say the last thing to go when you're aging is power. It's not precision, it's power. So to say that Drew Brees is losing his power, I would assume that that's not the case in football either. He might not be able to hit guys that are running routes as well, but to just throw the ball downfield, I find it hard to believe that he's losing arm strength. I think it definitely comes down to the amount of targets he has out there, and if you know it's going to go to Kamara, pretty easy to defend on that.
Who else is out there for him? Sanders?
Sanders. Tre'Quan Smith.
Yeah.
Cook to tight end. But
I mean, I don't know what's happening, but I just think that to say that he's losing his arm seems to be a bit of a stretch.
He's never been known to have a strong arm. They've never been like, hey, he's a top 5 strong arm in the league.
He's not Aaron Rodgers or Josh Allen.
He's got a good arm, but he's never known to be the, strongest arm in the league.
Right.
You guys ever play Madden 21 or 20? There is it's not a glitch. It seems like it would be a glitch. If Russ and I play each other and I pick the Bills, Josh Allen can be picked. However, Aaron Rodgers cannot be picked unless it's a user pick, meaning that the computer will stand there and pick off Josh Allen all day.
Interception?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay. I was wondering what you meant by pick.
Aaron Rodgers, the computer will never pick him off.
He's good, man. You gotta remember,
that seems to be a bit of a stretch.
He's on the
to me.
fuck you
Sorry to
tour
go
this
into the weeds, but it's ultra frustrating when you're trying to play for $5.
I think the Saints will get it. I think the Saints will get it figured out eventually. I think things will change. They said Michael Thomas came back to practice. He's limited as of today, but we're finding out that their current roster relies a lot on Michael Thomas being on the field.
Well, right, and a lot of teams have to double him, or at least have someone over the top on him.
You're paying a lot of attention to him.
Yeah, with what you got out there, you don't have to pay attention with 2 guys to one of the receivers.
The other team I wrote down was Houston.
I mean, real quick on the Saints. So in the 3 games, they've put up 34, 24, and 30 points. It's not like they're going out and putting up 10 points a game.
Right.
Like,
yeah, I actually wrote, you brought up the Kamara getting touches. He's got 10 more catches and over 100 more yards receiving so far this year than he did last year through 3 games.
He's been a monster this year.
Yeah.
So this kind of goes back to his whole contract situation. If you think you're worth that money, go out and prove it.
That was kind of
what he is.
Yeah.
But you still got a year in your deal. Just show up to work, please.
Right. Could you do that?
So he might get paid. Well, he did get paid.
What's that?
We're at an hour right now.
Okay. I wrote this down after I texted you guys. Houston's 0-3. I believe they play Minnesota this week.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you can toss Minnesota in that mix, teams that aren't living up to their expectations. But I feel like Houston's one of those teams year in, year out. Deshaun just got paid, didn't he? Like, big.
Yeah, big money.
Yep.
You're 0-3. Somebody's leaving Sunday 0-4 in that team, one of those teams.
Yeah.
And I just wrote them down as somebody who is – they beat the Bills last year in the playoffs. They probably should have lost that game. Watson made a great play on that sack. But I feel like Houston's one of those teams that just never lives up to expectations year after year.
So the Saints offense struggling because you take Michael Thomas out, right? Houston trades arguably the best receiver in the game and brings in a ho-hum running back.
And a pack of Skittles.
It's a similar situation, right? You had DeAndre Hopkins, and you traded him. So it's kind of like the Michael Thomas situation. You took away your best receiving threat. I don't know. I have no idea what Houston's stats are this year, but you can kind of mirror those two situations a little bit.
You can't. And Fuller is not. I don't know. I'm going to throw a number out there because I have no idea. He's probably not a top 20 receiver in the league. He's good, but he's not a top tier receiver in the league.
Mm-hmm. Who's the other one that's there? Is it Cooks?
Yes, Cooks is there.
Cooks. You look up who's getting the targets and catches in Houston. Is it Cooks or Fuller? I don't know.
And Fuller, I assume he's healthy now. He usually can't stay healthy a whole year.
Yeah,
but when he is healthy, I think the reason he did succeed was because he was number 2 behind Hopkins.
Right.
It's a different ball game when you're the number 1 guy out there.
And I don't picture him as a great route runner.
Who's that?
Fuller. He's got the speed. He can go deep, run the post routes, but going across the middle, slant. And he's a big guy, so I don't know why slant wise he can't. But he just doesn't seem like a great route runner.
I just feel like Houston's like they get a lot of spotlight on J.J. Watt, Deshaun Watson, who's got paid a lot of money. I feel like they've got a talent. They should be better than 0-3.
Yeah, but I think we know the problem down there. It's the head coach GM.
Yeah, there's
combo.
There's been some issues there. They talked about that in the last year, like him leaving or needing to leave.
Yep.
What do you got over there, Stanley?
What I pulled up doesn't show targets. It shows receptions, and we got Cobb and Fuller with 4. And then
4?
Yeah, 4 each. Cobb.
Oh, just last week?
Yeah.
Oh,
you meant overall for the season.
I was just curious.
Fuller's put up some decent numbers this year, but
he put up 54 in the last game on 4 receptions. Cobb put up 4 receptions and 95 yards. So that's good to average 24 yards on each reception's not a number to laugh at.
I didn't know who they played last week.
They played the Steelers.
Pittsburgh.
Played Pittsburgh, yeah.
The Watt game.
That's right.
Come here every day.
Those commercials are great.
They're great.
Hey, what's in the turkey breast?
Yeah. Turkey.
Turkey breast.
Shout
out Subway, just so we don't get in trouble.
Yeah. If someone's leaving this game 0-4, and I don't think it's good for either organization. So
Minnesota has looked a little better, but Cook obviously looked good last week. So
Minnesota looked better last week, and they still lost like last second field goal. I don't know. There's definitely teams out there that we're finding out that are, and they're not who everyone thought they were.
Right, and you're always going to go back to wonder this year is it preseason games? Is that part of the problem with that? It's going to be questioned no matter what, whether people think it or not.
Well, I think you can somewhat make that argument up to now, but going forward, to me, that argument's out the window.
Right.
We're moving into week 4.
Yeah.
And guys have already gotten, in those first 3 games, your star players probably got 75% more playing time than they would have in 3 preseason games.
I always hate the talk these first couple of weeks. Like, it's necessary to have as things pan out, but I just hate the week 3 through 9. Once you've seen a little, but you don't know how the season's going to go, it just feels like we're just spewing out hot air at this point to say what a team is going to do. You could watch the Saints or the Eagles or anybody go and win the next 13 games in a row. You don't know what's going to happen. It's not likely, but
Saints
to say what's going to happen right
Eagles.
now. I'm not. Yes. Sorry, Ron, but it's not happening.
Ron gave up on the Eagles week 1.
Ron just got a Stanley Cup, so he can quit bitching.
That's right.
Yeah, I've never been a big fan of the. I know what you're saying, and people do argue that. I just feel like we don't see the starters enough in preseason.
Right, because in preseason they basically play a game overall.
Yeah, they play quarter of a series, just kind of pack it in.
And then usually that third game they play half to 3/4 of a game, and so.
I did see today that the president of the Players Association is lobbying for everyone to change their fields to grass if you have turf. He's trying to injuries.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
I'd be curious.
A good enough reason.
From a franchise perspective, grass has got to be so much more expensive.
Yeah, I saw a special on the Vegas thing. They grew it in like Arizona. They come in at night when it's cooler out, cut it, roll it, and drive it to Vegas and make sure it's on there and get it all ready. So yeah, Probably is more expensive.
I mean,
long-term.
I think they replaced that 3 times throughout a season, something like that, and even more. I think Pittsburgh does it even more because University of Pittsburgh plays there a few games a year.
Oh, yeah.
So there's, I mean, especially if it rains.
University of Pittsburgh should pay for it then.
Well,
That's right.
They
make
might.
enough damn money.
They might, but right. Either way, if you get a game with rain, there's no that grass is done. You got to replace it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see how that turns out. But I feel like a lot of these fields, they don't just play on straight turf anymore. It's like it's supposed to be like a hybrid. It's supposed to feel like real grass, but it's not real grass. And
Are you talking about that shit with the chopped up tires underneath that scrapes you all up?
kind of.
You ever play on that stuff?
Yeah, I like it. I don't mind it.
I mean, I've never played football on it, so I don't know.
I've never
But
played football on it either,
I've played
but-
soccer on it, and it's not a pleasant experience.
It probably feels better when you go down on it than regular real AstroTurf. You ever fell on that?
I don't think I've ever played on old school stuff.
It's like falling on Kyle's driveway.
Yeah, that's what I mean about this stuff with the chopped up tires under it. It's just
It's a little softer than regular AstroTurf. I've played on a regular AstroTurf. It is not fun. You go down, I'd rather slide across a newly waxed gym floor.
yep. You come up, but your skin stays down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sucks. All right, let's move on to UFC. Couple title fights this last week. Outside, for the record. We watched those outside.
We did. That was nice.
Yeah.
I want to know why you didn't bring a truckload of sand and dump back there.
For what?
I feel like you're at the beach. You're on the island.
You send him a DM, see if he figures it out for you.
Is that classified as a dad joke, anybody?
Program the buttons. Might as well use them.
You just wait. Next week, there will be
Okay.
lots of buttons.
I like it.
Fights were pretty good. I thought overall, fights were
Yes.
good.
Yes.
I'm sure you want to focus on title fights.
Might as well. I don't even remember a lot of the other ones.
So John's belt was up for grabs,
Yep.
and I'm going to call it a shocker. Jan Blachowicz beat Dominic Reyes. I didn't.
Yep.
I had Dom winning that fight.
I think we both had Dom winning that fight, but I wouldn't necessarily call it shocking that Jan won.
Right.
Because Jan does have tremendous power. He proved that.
Yeah.
I would have thought Dom was the better overall fighter.
Based on what we saw when he fought John.
I think it's important to bring up, too, that there were 0 takedowns given throughout that fight. The official stats have it as 0-0 for takedowns.
I mean, the
It
fight
was
didn't last
a
very
relatively
long.
short fight, too, though.
Yeah.
True, but you'd think at some point if
Neither one of those guys
you're
are
fighting
really,
I know, but you got a great striker out there. You'd think that you'd be wanting to take it down.
but they're both great strikers.
They're both strikers.
I know it's always surprising to see 0 takedowns in a fight. Maybe that's just
Yeah.
me, but I think when you see I guess it's light heavyweights, you do expect more striking, but still to see 0 takedowns,
Yeah.
I don't know.
You got to remember though, if that's your strength in the middle of a fight. If you truly don't know where the fight's at, there's a good chance, unless someone in your corner says, "Hey, go for a takedown this round" or whatever, you probably feel like you're winning the fight on your feet.
Not only were there 0 takedowns though, Jan only hit Dominic 41 times.
What round did that end in?
That ended in the second.
4:36 around 2. It's almost 2 full rounds.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought Dom would win the fight. He looked great against John. So,
I agree.
Yeah.
but he got caught. His nose was broken before he got caught.
His nose was very broken.
He
yes.
kept touching his nose. That thing was
And
flat.
I might have the wrong fight.
I would have picked my Polish brother.
Did Jan? Was that the fight where was Jan kicking Reyes in his left rib
Yes.
cage, and that was like extreme welting.
You could see toe prints.
It looked
So
like,
fast too.
Yeah, it was like red paint. I mean, it was that red.
Yeah.
So
If you didn't know any better, you thought he was bleeding out of his rib cage.
correct.
That's how red it was. And you could see every time you kick him, you have like these little
Yeah.
white toe prints where he kept
Yeah.
kicking.
And
him.
it's funny because I think a lot of times you notice when guys are throwing strikes at the lead leg, you'll start to see the guy when he's favoring that leg, you see him start to not be able to support himself as well. But
Yep.
to take that welt into the side, it's got to hurt more than those leg kicks. And we didn't see a huge change in his demeanor.
No,
but
but
the way that the fight finished out from there, you have to know it had a big effect on it.
probably dropped his hands a little bit.
Oh yeah.
The Cormier effect. Kick
What's
him in
that?
the
Beat
ribs.
the body so I can hit the face.
No, that's how everyone's beat DC. John actually told him how I'm going to knock you out.
Yep.
He knew exactly. And if you go back and watch the second Stipe fight, it took Stipe 3.5 rounds to figure out that's what you needed to do. And as soon as he went to the body, he hurt Cormier bad. Then ended up knocking him out. That's, there's a subconscious, like if you're starting to hurt in your rib cage because you're getting kicked, that right hand or whatever side it's on, it's probably dropping to block that kick. You're kind of flinching, you're kind of holding it. Yeah, it's going to open it up. I mean, it was textbook. I mean, he did do what he needed to do. Somebody saw enough film and said you need to go to the body first on him.
It's funny you say seeing film because it's always fun to watch the way the guys feel each other out that first round, where they're checking spacing, they're watching the way guys react to their feints.
Yep.
And I don't recall if it was the Costa Adesanya fight or the Reyes and Jan, because I don't like butchering his last name, so we'll just refer to him as Jan.
Blachowicz.
It's always fun to watch them feel out the reactions, because at one point I said, watch, he's going to hit him with a left jab and then an overhand right. And for the next 3 minutes, it was like he would attempt that left jab, and you'd see the right hand get ready to go for it. And he never quite pulled it off. But it's fun to watch the fights and say, I think I know what's about to happen here. Because the more you watch them, the more you can start to feel like you're on one side or the other. And I think this series of fights was a great example of that.
I've always felt like the better the fighter, the potential that it was going to be slower and more of a chess match. Because both of them have done their homework. They got to that level for a reason, so both of them, you can attest to this. They get to that level where they do watch a ton of film on how that guy fights, his tendencies.
Yeah.
And they know that guy is doing the same thing. So now it turns into a chess match.
Yep.
And we got to see a great example of that in the Adesanya fight.
Yeah, we can move on to the Adesanya fight.
Sorry to get us moving that fast, but
nope. Before we get into the Adesanya fight, I think it was Sunday morning before football, I had TV on upstairs. If you're going to cover sports on TV and you don't know how to pronounce somebody's name,
Oh, my God.
could you fucking ask somebody? Whoever was Sunday morning on ESPN on the desk, he reported the fight, the Adesanya fight, and I'm like, is this guy doing it on purpose? And it's almost like he enjoyed doing it. He said it like 6 times. He referred to Adesanya as a Desna.
You say that. I was watching an interview. Apparently, that is how you say his name.
Dude, no one's ever referred to him as that.
I know that's, but I was watching, and actually it was DC and Hawaii. That's how they. And now it wasn't exactly like that, but
According to him?
Yes. So Ariel was like, let's say his name the way he said he wants it pronounced. They said it very close to
it
that.
might be somewhere between like Adesanya, but it's not whatever the ESPN guy was saying.
Yeah, I don't know. It was, but
I've always ever heard him referred to as Adesanya.
yeah, so he was saying it much different than that.
There's also Israel. I don't want to say his last name now because I don't want to butcher it. Adesanya was a guest on Joe Rogan's podcast, and I feel like that's a situation where he would have corrected him, and Joe might have even asked him how.
100%.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Ariel and DC were saying his name different than obviously I've heard you guys say it.
I mean, I thought he looked.
Yeah. Anyways,
he looked great.
This was a very one-sided ass kicking.
Yeah,
quite frankly.
Little confused by Costa's tactics.
Yeah,
I don't know what he's trying to accomplish out there, standing there taunting, like trying to get him.
Yeah, so he kept having his hands down, put his hands behind his back. He was kind of showboating. And I said to you, I go, he's gonna keep doing this, and he's gonna get caught and get knocked out.
Oh, you mean like having 12 significant strikes against Adesanya's 55 significant strikes?
Yes.
That lopsided.
Yeah, that is not
No
good.
takedowns again. Just I think that's another important stat to pull out that we didn't see takedowns in either of those.
There's this fight surprises me even less with the takedowns because Adesanya is getting into that conversation of the best striker.
Oh, I don't disagree for a second. I think it's interesting to
right.
If anybody's going to go for a takedown, it would have been Costa.
It would have been Costa, but he couldn't get close enough to Adesanya to even think about attempting it.
Maybe he could have if he put his hands in front of his face and stopped acting like it was his fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had some weird tactics. Yeah. The other thing I noticed in that fight was pre-fight.
Yeah.
You know where I'm going with this.
Yeah, I do.
Adesanya had a little titty problem on the right side.
Oh, this part. Okay. Yeah.
Have they said what's going on?
He claims, I saw an interview, he doesn't know what it is, that supposedly had a scan, but most people with a little bit of knowledge will tell you it's the gyno effect.
Gynecomastia. He asked me this when I was like 5 beers deep, and somehow I knew it.
Yeah, it was called the
not too proud,
gyno
but
effect,
kind of proud.
A steroid side effect.
There's a side effect of taking
I read
steroids.
something that's what they thought it was, but
Yeah.
I didn't know if they truly said.
You can't tell me he didn't notice his floppy titty.
Singular,
And even-
not plural, or else you kind of let it go by the wayside.
Yeah.
And John Jones was tweeting through both of these fights because obviously he was the former light heavyweight champion, and he and Adesanya have some beef. So even before the fight started, John tweeted and said, I think it was, quote, "What's up with Izzy right tit?" Something like that.
Well, when he came out and he was standing there by the cage, I said something to you guys. Like, I
You
think
noticed it fast too.
Yeah. I'm like, something's not right there.
Yep.
And that's when you said, well, John just tweeted.
Yep.
So what's up with Izzy's tit?
He was trying to throw Costa off. He's like, if I let this one flop, he won't know what's coming.
Only work the left side.
I'm curious.
And
he had to have passed drug tests, but
I mean, maybe it is a medical thing. He is very skinny. You know, he's a very tall, long frame. He's not a big, beefy guy, so
which makes
it's very noticeable on him.
Did you see it?
Yeah. I went back and watched. This is the only one because I know we were going to talk about it a lot, but I went back and watched the fight. So he's become, I don't know. I watched a lot of the press conferences like late last week leading up to it. His press conference after. I don't know. I like this guy.
Yeah.
I think he's doing really great at the one thing that's the hardest part in Ultimate Fighting, and it's not the fights itself, it's the branding.
Yes.
And
Yep.
he's found a way to set himself apart without doing what we talked about last week and just being arrogant.
Yep.
He's obviously got that incorporated, but the dancing, whatever it is, he's set himself apart from the crowd.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see him learn a little bit more than one dance move, but
Yeah.
if that's what sets him apart.
I mean, I said last week that the beef with John Jones from over the past year and a half, or however long it's been, I feel, and you kind of just agreed, it's basically a marketing ploy. He's trying to get himself known, get his name out
That's
there.
why Conor can have any fight he wants. He's the champion of marketing.
Yeah.
We'll get to that too.
We'll get to that one. And I think he did it in the post-fight press conference also. Somehow they got on the topic of John Jones. He brought that up again.
John brought it up
No.
in a tweet today.
Yeah.
Basically, like,
Yeah.
you mention my name every time you get interviewed.
Now, I think I think I said it last week too. With the John Jones beef set aside, because I'm a Jones fan, I really like Adesanya. He is extremely confident, extremely cocky. He's also now 20 and 0. You're 20 and 0, and you're holding a belt as one of the greatest fighters currently walking the planet. I don't really have a problem with you being confident and cocky.
Right.
So is he, and I probably know your guys' answer to this, is he getting close to that best pound for pound fighter?
Current pound for pound, yes, he's in that conversation.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I put him in that conversation now.
Yeah. I'm never a big fan of the
I hate the pound for pound list.
rankings.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you can ever compare somebody, a Dom Cruz that weighs 135. How do you compare him to Stipe Miocic at heavyweight?
Right.
I don't exactly like that comparison, but if you're going to have those talks, yes, to me, he is definitely in that list. If he goes out, puts on a streak here, defends his belt another 3 or 4 times in a row, he's going to be in that talk of greatest fighter we've seen.
Yep.
Quite frankly, he might be the best striker in MMA currently.
I would agree with that.
I tried to go find a T-shirt today of his, and I didn't look too much, but
And my opinion with the John thing is, John joked after the light heavyweight fight and said, should I just try to screw around or something, go back and get my belt?
Yeah.
And they literally took him serious on that.
Yeah.
And they started talking about him. John's not going back to light heavyweight to fight.
No.
He's already started to bulk up, and he even made a reference to Adesanya and said, I'm literally at the point right now I'd probably tear one of your arms off your body.
Right.
Didn't he say he'd rip all of his limbs off?
He
Was
would,
that the line?
He would probably rip one of his arms off and beat him with it. John's going to be huge. Not like fat huge. Like John's going to be, I think, an absolute monster heavyweight. Just because of his length, but even at 205, his strength is ridiculous. So him at even some of these bigger guys, in my opinion, at heavyweight, he's not going to. The guy at heavyweight is not going to be the guy you saw fight at 205. He's clearly taking time to make the adjustment to his body and strength.
Yep.
So he's going to be a monster, but yeah, I would agree. Honestly, he's probably might be the best striker right now in the UFC.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I've become a big fan of his just from his press conferences, but I think one of my favorites was they asked him how it was fighting without the crowd. He said, I like it because there was no one yelling, grab his dick.
Oh, damn. You ever seen that video?
Yeah.
Grab his dick and twist it. He's like, oh, the dick twist.
Yeah, he said he actually liked it better without fans in there because you don't have people yelling stupid shit.
I just love the sound of hearing a good blow land. That like a body shot with a kick. I see you chirping at me over there when I say seeing a good blow land, but
what?
A nice body shot.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You can definitely hear the strikes better. You can hear the coaches
corners
screaming instructions. You can hear refs giving warnings that we would only maybe hear 25% of them typically. I think as a fan sitting at home, it's almost more enjoyable without a crowd there for all those reasons I just mentioned.
I think
However, I still think ultimately you want the atmosphere
energy.
of the fans there.
I think we heard a ref warning we've never heard before too last week about watch your mouth.
Respectfully. There's two guys fist fighting. I don't know if you're aware of that.
Right.
These two guys are punching each other
It's
in the face.
pay-per-view, dude. Chill out.
Let's get that ref in there with a Nate Diaz fight and see how that battle goes. Watch your mouth.
Yeah. The other fight that the person you brought up was Mr. Conor McGregor. This news broke 2 days ago. We need an update soon. I don't know when we're going to get it. But what happened is Conor was tweeting about Dana White and exposed some DMs. Was talking about negotiations, how they fell through, and what he was told, and what everyone's been hearing. Mm-hmm. Dustin Poirier, who is one of my favorite fighters, responded to this and said, Conor, with a question mark. And then he said...
Grand slam.
So then he said, Conor, with a question mark. Conor responded to this with a chain of tweets. Do you have those? I don't know if I do. I sent them to you. So basically he responded and said, do you want to do a fight? This is to Dustin. Do you want to do a fight in December, basically for charity? Because Poirier has a huge foundation. Well, I'm saying huge, but he has a foundation he takes care of after every fight and stuff. It's called the Good Fight Foundation. We'll do the fight for charity. I'll give $500,000 to your charity. I have some charities of my own. We'll sell them pay-per-view. We'll promote it. And basically, the two of them going to charity, it would make a boatload of money.
That's sweet.
Yep.
Yeah. And it is. I mean, it really is. I mean, I've always said I'd love to see that fight happen now compared to when they fought the first time. Dustin was a little younger, a little more experienced. I think he's a better fighter now. Do you have those tweets?
Yes, this is the picture you sent me, so just 2 tweets. This is Conor McGregor talking to Dustin Poirier. This is a little long, but hey, bro, you want to do an MMA charity fight? 0 to do with the UFC. I will donate $500,000 towards your charity for it. Sell it on pay-per-view or work out a TV deal, and we work out other charities that are close to my heart also. I'm engaged in many. Strictly a charity exhibition. And McGregor's already got details. He's saying December 12th in Point Depot, Ireland.
Yep.
No weigh-ins, open weight, unified rules. He's told Dustin, I'll arrange all travel fare for you and your family. McGregor Sports and Entertainment, MMA, in association with the Good Fight Foundation. Charity, mixed martial arts.
Nothing negative to say about that.
No, to me, it's awesome. I mean, didn't expect that out of Conor for sure.
Yep. Conor McGregor is a roller coaster to try to be a fan of.
You don't know which one you're going to get.
He was top of the fighting world as the champ. Then he walked away. He went to boxing. Then he went into a hole and didn't do any fighting for 2 years.
Now he's kind of tickled at boxing again.
Yeah, still runs his mouth.
That was a lot of talking without fighting.
Mm-hmm. He got to that point where, I would say you need to at some point shut your mouth and get back into a fight.
He
or
does
you're
sell some really
irrelevant.
mediocre at best whiskey if you're ever interested.
Never tried it.
The whole
It's not that great.
the whole Dana White situation, tweeting out his conversations between he and Dana. To me, that's you don't do that.
No, you don't.
That's
Still don't know why he was calling out Diego Sanchez either.
correct.
Right.
Dana had a good point on that. He said this guy's a 40-something-year-old who's basically irrelevant at this point, but yet you want me to make you and Diego Sanchez a main event of in L.A.
Right.
That made no sense.
None at all.
Diego Sanchez.
And
highlight fight.
Dana's not going to take that shit. He's not going to
No.
take you. If you tell me where you want to fight, I'm going to put you there.
But he has done that with Conor in the past because
Right, but not
Conor makes him a shitload of money.
yeah.
But not anymore. He's not going to.
If I were having text conversations with any of you guys and you guys blasted all over social media, I would be furious about that. You just don't do that. So I don't blame Dana for being upset about that.
Now, I didn't watch all of the interview, but Dana White did do an interview with Barstool today with Robbie Fox. And apparently in the interview, he did mention that a fight has now, I don't know if the whole McGregor conversation with Poirier on Twitter triggered this, but apparently a fight has been offered to both fighters to fight in the UFC now. So there's some, this is why we need answers. I'm assuming we'll hear something soon, but Poirier tweeted today, "I accept." And that's all it said. So we don't know which fight he accepted, the Ireland one or the UFC fight.
I would say Dana White has a reputation of tipping very well. There's many stories of him like going out to a restaurant and like he'll have a good waitress and he'll tip her like $50,000. He gives his money away. A lot of it. I mean, he's obviously got enough to give away.
Pays an HOA fee too.
So, yeah. And I guess why I'm saying that is if these guys want to have a fight where there's charities that are profiting off of, I don't think Dana White would have any issue with that.
I don't either.
It would probably be a lot easier on those guys if they were able to just hand over the logistics to the UFC, an organization that does this all the time, organize fights. These guys show up and they basically just have a contract that says, hey, we're taking this much money and this pile of money is going to these couple of charities. So in my opinion, they could work with the UFC and still make this work.
And Khabib did that for Dustin when they fought.
Yeah.
They switched shirts. He auctioned it off.
Yes.
Because Poirier auctions off his fight kit.
Yep.
And he gave Poirier $100,000 for his charity.
Yeah. So
I could see Dana. Yeah. I think if Dana's pissed about anything, it's the fact that it was how Conor went about it.
yeah.
Like on Twitter, like, hey, fuck the UFC. Do you want to come do this?
Correct.
Type of thing. And he has been lobbying. And I kind of get Conor's frustration here because I think it is a frustration at this point. He wants to have a UFC card in Ireland, and I don't blame him for that.
Right. Yeah.
You were the company's biggest star for a few years. You brought in a lot of money. I don't see anything wrong with them doing a card in Ireland. I think that's a great idea, actually. But
And I believe, maybe we have to look this up, even though McGregor retired, he still, I believe, has a fight on his UFC contract that he retired from. And Poirier...
might even be two.
Right. So I guess what I'm getting at is I don't believe they can legally go fight somewhere else in any fashion without the UFC's permission.
It's probably definitely
because they're under
legalities there.
contract with
Yeah.
them. So even if they wanted to go do this non-weigh-in whatever fight for charity, I don't know that they can legally do that.
Unless that's the loophole of charity. Right. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows? But anyway, enough of that. What do you got over there?
It said that he signed for an 8-fight contract in 2018, and I don't think we've seen him all. So. McGregor, yeah.
8 fights.
There's
there's
there's no way he's had 8 fights then.
Exactly.
So
he's got to have
Has
leftovers.
he fought maybe once in that time?
Maybe twice.
Yeah.
Fought Cowboy.
Yep.
And that might have been a fresh
for
contract
Khabib,
to fight
for
for Nate.
Oh.
Did he fight Nate after Khabib?
I don't even remember.
Check it out, Stat Boy. But anyway, while you're doing that, we'll move on.
Again, he fights someone frequently. I don't remember.
Yeah,
this.
I know. Baseball playoffs started. The best analogy I've heard of this so far is A-Rod said it's similar to March Madness. We got 8 games from noon till night, based on the East Coast. I sat last night and watched the entire Yankee game. I watched the entire Braves game today because that came out at noon. I mean, it's playoff baseball. I don't know. It just doesn't have the energy.
Dude, sign me up for this every year.
I don't know.
Eight teams, 16 total.
Oh, okay.
I would take that.
I thought you were saying sign you up for this bubble, no fan,
No,
no energy
no.
stuff.
This playoff format, best of three first, no days off. I think that plays a huge part in it.
That part I'm great with.
Tomorrow we have at least 5 games, potentially 6 if Indians beat the Yankees tonight. 5-4 Yankees.
Okay.
It's only like the 4th inning. I don't know.
So, sorry to cut you off there, but we saw Khabib and Conor in 2018, and then we saw Conor January 18th of 2020. That's all we've seen.
Is that the Cowboy
fight?
That was Cerrone, yeah.
Cerrone, yeah.
So if he did, and I can't see him sign 8 fights. 8 fights would have been fresh contract going into Khabib. But anyway.
That was in 2018, so that would have been Khabib, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, back to baseball. I agree. I love the expanded. I love more teams. I love my biggest gripe has always been with baseball playoffs was the 1 game play-in that should have been a series of 3.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, great example is your Braves got smoked in 1 game last year because they gave up 10 runs in the first inning, and that was it. Their season's done in 1 day.
No, that was the 5th game of the series.
Didn't they lose the wild card game and give up 10 runs?
No, they won their division. That was that was a best of 5. That was game 5.
Okay. Either way, I mean, I would prefer at least a best of 3. So I do like the format. I just find it hard to get into without the energy, man.
Yeah. And I don't know if fans would make a difference. I don't know how. I feel like baseball players don't feed off the energy as much as, a hockey or a basketball, something like that. I feel like there's a lot more energy built off a crowd than in baseball.
I have a tough time agreeing that the fans don't make a difference.
Well, I think they do, but they're not, I don't think they make as big of an impact
Well,
because it's a little slower. It's pitch by pitch instead of a clock running, I guess.
I just feel like it's not the same. It doesn't feel like playoff baseball. I know it's playoff baseball. It doesn't feel like playoff baseball, and that's what sucks. But it is what it is. We're getting it in. But
yeah, I love it.
There's a lot of games. Dude, how about the Minnesota Twins?
I filled out a bracket before this. That does not surprise me at all. I don't know. I know Houston's not been good, and everybody wants to see them lose, but I think I saw some stats say the Twins have lost like 17 straight
playoff games. It's nuts.
That's crazy.
That's what I'm talking about.
I was trying to find that hard to believe because didn't they beat the Yankees like 5 years ago or something?
I don't know.
They had a series because I thought they beat them, but
18. But you think about it, though, 18 games is not a ton of games. It sounds like a ton of games, but it's not.
But 18 straight is.
If you go 3 years in a row and get swept in the playoffs, there's 12 right there.
Yeah. Well, no, because it would only been 5. Because the first round they would have played it was only 5. So
I know they got swept by the Yankees, I think, last year.
So I don't know. But yeah, that seemed like and I saw that stat that they obviously don't win the playoffs very often, but so that doesn't surprise me as much, and obviously experience I think takes over.
Yeah,
we've already seen two teams advance with Houston and Tampa swept the Blue Jays.
By the way, hit the over today in 4 innings. So
for which game was that?
Tampa Blue Jays.
Nice.
Yeah, that was an easy one.
It's nice when those latter innings are not stressful.
They had
Did you hit the under in the Braves game?
No. So I went and put the bet in at said location, and by the time I got home 15 minutes later, it was 7-0. Watching the house, the game was on TV. I'm like, this is sweet. 7-0. It was a quick one. I'm like, that's why I texted you. I'm like, I need one run.
Yeah. Unlike the Chiefs over under. Sweating that out.
Oh, we'll get into that. I do have something to get into that. But I was watching. I saw a headline today after Minnesota lost. It said Carlos Correa wants the haters to suck it after they beat the worst team in playoff history. Or you missed the stat. The Twins have lost 18 straight playoff games.
I heard that one. That's gut wrenching for them.
Yeah, I mean that's a lot.
Dude, your Braves got a grind going on.
Ooh, dude. Well,
That's a third of the 2020 season.
Dude, they dodged more bullets today than the damn Matrix.
dude, like I said, I had a migraine, so I was like in and out of the game the whole day. But they haven't won a playoff series since 2002. I don't know. It's been a long time since they won a playoff series. So, and to face, I might say, since I might have the best 1-2-3 punch pitching wise in the playoffs in all of baseball.
Depending on which Sonny Gray shows up.
Right. Because Bauer's obviously very electric. Castillo's very good, and Gray can be outstanding. So 1-2-3 punch, they might have the best rotation. And I had a feeling today was going to be very low scoring. It was going to be who could get to that starting pitcher first, and neither team got to either starting pitcher. They combined for 14 2/3 innings and no runs today between the two of them.
Yeah, it was. You said you slept through most of it.
Yeah, I was in and out the whole day.
I watched the first 11 innings, and I can tell you that Atlanta dodged some serious bullets out there.
I think I read the Reds had 5 or 6 times with a runner on third and less than 2 outs, and didn't score.
Yeah, it was.
I know they had bases loaded with 1 out in the 12th, maybe the 13th. I think they had bases loaded with 2 outs in the 11th. First and third with no outs in the 12th, I think.
The Braves got the extra inning scoring 2 runs in 9 innings, or 2 hits in 9 innings.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's what I mean. They dodged so many bullets of like the Reds got in position and then just screw it up. And I'm like, man, you guys are just, I don't know. I'll tell you who's really good at calling baseball games is A-Rod. Like I've said that before, but.
So I've listened to a lot of A-Rod interviews in the past month. I really enjoyed listening to him.
Dude, that guy.
He's got a lot of knowledge, obviously, of baseball, of everything. I love listening to him.
I heard at least 10 times today, and he's like, here comes a breaking ball.
So
there it goes.
So he says that,
knows
but I think they're looking at signs. So I think he knows.
I don't know.
I think he knows from the sign what's coming. But
he didn't play for the Astros, did he?
But when a guy puts a certain finger down, it's kind of obvious.
He's very good at understanding baseball. He was talking even like little stuff today. Guy from the Reds on second base.
He's
not taking a big enough secondary lead.
He's like, that's terrible. He's terrible.
It's almost like watching or listening to Tony Romo. It's football.
Very smart.
These guys are very smart. They know the small details of the game, and it shows when they're announcing.
Like Atlanta got out of an inning in that rundown.
Yes.
The guy screwed that up too.
What you got, Stab Boy? You're laughing at me.
Say you mean a lot like Joe Buck and how he can really read all the sports.
I mean, Cincinnati botched that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I still don't know what they were doing in that play, but whatever.
Well, the guy it started with, I think he was attempting to steal second.
Yeah, he was
super late jump.
I think it was I think he was trying to late steal, but
someone
they
didn't
did a
communicate
terrible job of it.
Someone didn't communicate them because the guy on third did not do anything until long after he should have, and then it resulted in this shitty rundown that he botched. But yeah, I don't know. It's fun to watch, I guess. Be a whole lot better with a lot of buzzing going on in the background with fans.
Yeah, the Braves Reds game would have been much different with fans with it 0-0. I think they set a baseball playoff record. Longest game was no runs scored.
Yeah,
they set that in the 11th, I think, the record. So
I don't mind a decent pitching battle, but this sounded like a horrible snooze fest.
It was a very good pitching battle for the first 7-8 innings, and then it kind of turned into some bad mistakes by the Reds.
Well, it turned into just poor hitting by both teams in general.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
At some point, you got to.
They broke the record. I think it was like 39 strikeouts combined.
Atlanta had 21 strikeouts today.
It was 39 or 40 strikeouts total.
At some point, it turns into really shitty hitting, and I saw some guys swinging some garbage like way out of the zone. So
and that's it, right. That's its hard part. It's like, was it just terrible hitting? Was pitching really good? You don't know but it. I thought it was a good game, but I'm looking forward to this baseball series, I guess.
You guys want to move on to stars?
I've got one if I can lead off.
Ooh. Normally just comes in with a dud, but
and it's not even an athlete.
Okay.
In fact, it's the king of the Shark Tank, Mr. Mark Cuban, gets my star of the week.
I know where this is going. Carry on.
He might call himself an athlete.
that's a gray area at best. He went out of his way, even though he runs over 100 companies, or at least has part stake in them. He went out of his way to go in his own personal car and pick up a homeless Delonte West, who played for the Mavs from 2011 to 2012.
Yep.
From a gas station. And then, when he got into his car, he told him, we're going to a hotel room. He got him a hotel and said, basically, look, you're not going to leave until we've got your life figured out.
So I heard they're talking to the family about rehab. So Delonte West thing's been ongoing for a while. There was a video that surfaced a few months ago, him like alongside the road,
Homeless with a sign.
Someone like kicked his ass. Like,
but Mark
We're good.
Cuban decided that he didn't want to leave that burden on the family, so he's paying for the rehab on his own. And I think that's enough for a little bit of that star of the week kind of material, if you ask me.
Jesus. Yeah, that's a good one. That's cool. I hope it pans out for him. You guys want to share over there?
No.
Don't worry about it.
Secrets are no fun unless you tell everyone.
Well, we'll tell you afterwards what we're talking about.
I think you'll know.
I'll go ahead and throw a star out there. I'm going to go with Garrett Cole, 13 strikeouts, 17 pitched last night. Kind of earned his money. Signed that big contract. That's what we got to do in the playoffs. He looked good last night. So Garrett Cole, a third star.
Okay. I will keep the pitching theme. We just talked about the Braves-Reds game. Trevor Bauer, he actually set the Reds' postseason record for strikeouts in a game today. So he pitched 7 2/3 innings, gave up the 2 hits that you mentioned. He had 12 strikeouts and no walks. And he did this under some tough circumstances. He had made a Twitter comment, and he was called out by one Adam Konopsky. You scared? #Braves. He was not scared. He set the postseason strikeout record for the Reds.
But he didn't win. So
Yep.
he was mad because the Cardinals didn't finish out
So,
their 60 games.
which is
valid
a
point.
very valid point, and I think it's stupid that the Cardinals weren't required to play.
Agreed, but at the very beginning of the season, they said if it doesn't have getting into the playoff implications, they weren't going to finish them out because they didn't want to extend it out. So that was said before the season even started.
This is starting to sound
Just
a lot
the
like
getting-
Korean baseball
just
playoffs.
getting into
Getting
the
in.
playoffs.
So
seeding.
if the Cardinals would have lost both those extra 2 games, they still would have been in the playoffs.
Right.
So they said it had to
the-
be.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
But they said that before.
I strongly disagree with them making that decision.
I do too, but that was stated well before the season started, so that was the rules going into it. And they try. I think the Cardinals played 5 doubleheaders last week, so it wasn't like they tried to.
Well, of course they didn't try to play
Well,
less games.
Well, I know, but yeah. So I don't know.
I just think in general, I think it's stupid to play a season and then have your playoff matchups not be accurate because you didn't have one team play 2 games.
Yeah, but if they Cardinals win one of those 2, they're in the same spot. Right.
But that's why you play the games.
Yeah,
If the dog wouldn't have stopped taking shit, he would have caught the rabbit.
that's right.
Yep. Anywho,
So my third star is Freddie Freeman today. Game-winning base hit in the bottom of the 13th. I didn't have a third star until 5 o'clock today.
he is a Brave for anyone that doesn't know him.
But also a shout out to there are 3 pitchers who started game 1 for their teams today and yesterday. They were high school teammates, which is crazy. Max Fried, Jack Flaherty, and Lucas Giolito were all high school teammates, which is a crazy.
That must have been a pretty decent high school team.
Crazy.
Did all right.
Apparently, so A-Rod was talking about it today during the game. He said he went down there and actually trained with the 3 of them. And that high school, he said, is like one of the top high schools in the country. And they're just outside L.A. But he said they're always, top 2, 3 in the state. But yeah, those 3 on the same team just seems
Not to get too far
Crazy.
into the weeds, but that reminds me of something that you'd always hear listening to Detroit sports radio, and
he's
that's
going to Stafford here.
Stafford and Clayton Kershaw growing up together, played baseball and football together, and were corresponding with each other, one being the catcher and one being the receiver.
Still talking about baseball?
We are. We're still talking about,
Talking about the catcher receiver reference there.
This Oh boy.
You would have thought Daddy would have got the reference there.
I just thought it was worth noting. I mean, that you see
Why?
these
I
little
didn't know it
pods.
because I heard it 85 times.
Now you heard it 86. You know how you shoot 86, right?
Yeah,
You
14
missed
over.
the putt for 85.
My second star of the week is Patrick, not Pat Mahomes.
Yeah.
385 yards, 4 throwing touchdowns, 1 rushing. On Monday Night Football, it was the first time 2 MVPs, 25 years old or younger, played each other. And he clearly was trying to make a statement out there because he was still throwing the ball when they were up a lot. And go ahead. I have one more star and a dud, but I'll do that in the next round. Go ahead.
One more star and a dud. I am going to shock the podcast right now.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to shock Kyle Crane, probably.
I don't know. It's kind of hard at this point.
My second star is LeBron James.
Ooh.
What in the...
So the Lakers advanced to the finals, the NBA Finals. This is LeBron's 10th appearance in the NBA Finals.
Currently with a monster lead.
He has been in the finals 9 of the last 10 years. And trying to remain unbiased, that is a rather impressive number. 9 of the last 10 finals.
Yep.
I believe he's been in the finals more than 27 of the teams combined, right? Or something to that extent.
More than, it was like 20-something franchises. He's
Yeah.
been there more than them. I will say that he's only won 3 of those 9, though. But
Yeah, let's go. All
I'll give a little credit to LeBron James.
right.
My second star is Victor Hedman, who we already talked about, winning the Conn Smythe and Tampa Bay, I guess, overall.
Yep.
All right, so my first star is technically not going to be a star yet because we don't know which team. Deion Waiters will receive a ring either way.
If
He is eligible for a ring either way, and most teams usually
most
honor that. So he currently plays for Miami, but he started
currently
the year.
plays for the LA.
Or does he play for LA?
Yeah.
Okay, so he started the year in Miami. Now plays for LA. He played enough games in Miami to be eligible for a ring as well.
Didn't we have this
So-
situation a few years ago?
There's a debate about that because he actually only played like 5 games or something with them this year, but because it ended so badly between him and the Heat, people are wondering if the Heat will actually give him a ring or not. Because it hasn't been a good like past 2 years between him and the franchise. So they're curious if it happens,
Yeah.
if they'll truly give him a ring. Most teams do, but
Either way,
I like that star. I like that stat.
I got $10
If
that
I-
says he won't.
if
Someone wants
I
to take
am-
against it.
If I am in his shoes, let's say I'm in that scenario and things were fine between me and the old franchise. If I lose on my current team, I don't want a ring from my former team for losing to them. I don't think I would want that ring.
because you weren't there when you actually won it.
If you're on the Lakers,
Right.
you used to be on the Heat, and the Heat beat you. Do you want? I'm looking at you, Taylor. You're looking inquisitive.
He's a Lions fan.
Do you want that ring?
A ring is a ring, man. I don't care what
A ring
logo's
for-
stamped on it.
You could sell it like we talked about before.
That is one I would 100% sell and just have the cash.
Especially with the news story around it. That ring's probably worth even more if he gets it.
That's a decent point there. I just don't think I would want that ring.
Will
for
he
losing.
ever have another? I mean, you never know, but will he have another opportunity at one? Don't you think he wants that?
for losing? Do you want it for losing though?
Yeah, you're right.
Technically, that's what you're getting it for.
I just don't want that.
That's the
ring.
one you sell.
Yeah. Yes.
That's the one you sell.
I mean, if the rest of the team, do they inscribe like congratulations on it? Like, what do they put on his? Like, hey, sorry about this, bud.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Can't believe they traded you. LOL.
so he
Get
played
well soon.
he played 3 games for the Heat this year.
That's it? Then how does that make him eligible? I thought you had to play a certain number of
I
games.
think I don't know what the rules are. Like I know baseball, I think you just have to be on the roster. So I don't know what the rules are, but yeah, he played 3 games with the Heat,
Jeez.
and he played 14 minutes.
Isn't the NFL you have to be on the
No,
roster
thanks.
up until a certain point?
Yeah, I think so. There's
Like week 6 or 7 or something?
Yeah, I think
like that?
every league is
Yeah.
like a different rule for what qualifies. But yeah, the Heat are allowed to give him one if he wants one,
3 games
or
is
if
not
they want
getting
to.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would sell the hell out of that.
And he played 10 games. No, sorry. Yeah, 10 games last year for them. So he's played 13 career games for the Heat.
No thanks.
Nope. Selling that ring.
My first R, Joe Pavelski, plays for the Dallas Stars, so they just lost the Stanley Cup. Game 5, he scored a goal that put him in first place all-time playoff goals for American-born players. Mike Modano has 58. Many people, up until Patrick Kane, would regard Mike Modano as the greatest American player ever. Joey Mullen had 60, and Joe Pavelski's goal put him at 61. So
Nice.
all-time leading playoff scorer, U.S.-born players.
Nice. Good start.
I am going with the last style bender, Izzy, for the clinic he put on Saturday.
good
So I didn't
start.
watch it live, but I did rewatch the fight. So
I like it. Thorough ass kicking.
So I have a dud before we go off air. Do you want your dud first? You want to throw
No,
mine?
take it away. Take it away.
was he one of the first stars last week?
He might have been a star for a certain Russ. I'm pretty sure he's on Russ's shit list right now. Harrison Buckner, he missed an extra point and field goal. Some people had 54.5 in the over, and it missed by half a point
Yeah, I think he was the star for making 3 in a row last week. Wasn't that what it
from
was?
like 58 yards.
Yeah.
He's money. I pumped his tires. He let me down. We'll talk numbers when we're done recording.
Yeah.
He let me down.
Was that where you had to go? That was just it? You had to spit that one out?
By the way, week 4
Or-
picks will be out Friday, 3starrecruits.com. Go ahead, hit us with a dud.
All right. Dud of the week. The NFL refs as a whole. Not just from one game, not just from one situation, but as a whole, have seemed to let us down. How many weeks do we have to have the outcome of games decided by bad flags being thrown? The Bills had a couple questionable calls. The biggest one, I mean, we've touched on it. It's a dead horse at this point. The interception call that really wasn't an interception. I don't care which side of the fence you're on. It's not an interception.
You're a Lions fan, so yeah.
Yeah, about that. As did the Chargers game, though. We saw Darius Williams getting called for pass interference where no one saw any. But how you said just now about me being a Lions fan, I don't know if I really want to put that.
Burden on your shoulders.
Yeah, that's a good way to put
I don't
it.
blame you.
But it's a good segue to say that how many games do we have to see where the refs come down? It doesn't matter how many yards you throw for. It doesn't matter how many turnovers you get. The refs somehow seem to play the biggest role in the outcome of the game.
Right. Or the over-under.
Or the over-under. Yeah, they've cost a lot of people a lot of money on shit calls.
So there's
Dud of the week.
There's a rumor that, and maybe this happened in the Bills game where there was some debate on whether or not, I think it was week 1 that a kick went over the upright.
Yeah.
And there was some debate this week that the same thing happened with Buckner.
On Buckner's.
Because from
First
his
missed
angle,
field
he
goal.
said, I mean, normally if a kicker misses it, he knows he misses it. But there's an image of him in the holder, like standing there with their arms up.
That kick was early, and I think that was a first quarter kick.
Yeah.
So therefore, people didn't really think too much about it.
No,
But
they didn't.
But when they showed the replay, I was watching the game. I thought the same thing. It was pretty much over the upright, much like, was it Bass?
Yeah.
Yeah.
His kick in the Bills game week 1, where it's like, I was watching that, I'm thinking, man, that looks like it's good to me, but
It was close, yeah.
But again, it's a black and white. You can't review it. When
Yeah,
it's
so
above
do you
the-
think they'll? It'd be. I don't know where they'll put cameras. Do you think
That's what I was
it's
going to
been
ask.
twice this year already in 3 weeks? Do you think
That
they'll
we
try
know
to
of.
figure something out?
Yeah, do they put
Right.
something in place where they
Yeah, in my opinion, it should be. They should look at it, and I think it's a simple fix of just putting cameras on the top of the goalpost, pointing straight
Right.
up.
The lasers for garage door openers. You ever try? You know what I'm talking about?
little infrared?
I think between cameras, or I mean, you joke about that, or some sort of a system like that. I think it's a
I think it's worth
it's a
looking
relatively easy fix.
into. Cost Russ money. Cost me money.
Yeah. I did pretty good.
Yeah, we'll talk off air.
I should have done really good.
All right, gentlemen, anything else?
Who's your first star?
I already said it.
Yeah. Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
I forgot it already.
It was
But you,
Deion Waiters.
yeah.
Oh, I thought that was your second. Sorry.
No. All right, gentlemen, till next week.